And we're back here with Michael Schenker and Robin McAuley. Michael, I know you were just here right at Backstage Live 2 short years ago for your 30th anniversary show. And right before that, I had the pleasure of doing a telephone interview with you, gave you a call in Germany, and it was a fantastic interview. We talked about a lot of stuff, and I want to touch on that in a second. But because of that, I know when Michael was last here in San Antonio, but for Robin, for you, when was the last time you played a show here in any faction, any band?
Probably with Michael.
Yeah.
When would that be? Good Lord. And I think it was here. I'm
91?
almost sure it was here.
Yeah, 91.
Because I remember the ramps up onto the stage. I was telling Wayne about that one. I think that's the one with the ramps up. Probably. Probably. And that's the only thing I remember.
Okay.
But I always remember the playing in San Antonio was and I'm not just saying that because we're here and we're in a half proof. I always remember that San Antonio was a great MSG hub,
yes,
if you will. Yeah. You know, and it's great to be here. I think people really get a real kick out of it.
And we talked about in that phone interview about how, you know, I mentioned Perfect Time, You Save Yourself, and MSG, and just the whole period with the two of you. And I had asked you at that point about, you know, a lot, obviously with the MTV success, the video success, and the hits, a lot of your music was becoming commercial, which could be a double-edged sword in the metal world of the rock community, especially with someone of your background with Scorpions and UFO. But, you know, how do you look back on that time? And just, I remember you telling me that people had to, you had told me that people had to tell you, hey, you're becoming commercial, because you had told me you are so guitar-centric with your music that it's hard for you to kind of realize when a song may be commercial or maybe not. Can you kind of touch on that?
I don't pay much attention to that. The thing is, I do what I do regardless of what anybody else does. At this period of time, we had different people, like musicians invited, and they were all songwriters. So like somehow we ended up using a lot of their songs, and that's one reason why it became for a commercial. I didn't notice. I just did my part, and you know, and basically it's the other elements. You know, if I mix with different people, you can always hear me, but maybe the direction changes based on what the other people put to it. And so you know.
And Robin, for you, I mean, what's it like for you to sing the classic UFO stuff?
Oh my God,
the Scorpions stuff.
Really, it's a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's phenomenal. And when you think of the quality, the material that came from him being 17 to now, and it won't go away. I don't think it'll ever go away. And I think what really excites me is my own two boys, because of I'm not promoting Guitar Hero, but because I think largely in part of Guitar Hero, where all the young kids started to get in, and most of the Guitar Hero stuff is, I mean, and now it's changed to every different sort of genre, but it came out as 80s music, you know, and they used to challenge me, and I couldn't play for my life, and they were flying on this thing, you know, and I'm going, oh my God, and then go, Dad, do you know this guy? Dad, do you know that guy? And my other son, Jimmy, tries, of course he knows, he's old enough to know everybody, and I'm going, what? So I think because of that 80s sound became a brand new genre of music for the young kids now, and we were talking about a week or so ago that it would be great if all of the shows was in all ages, because I think it may be gone by the time they're old enough to get to it, and they won't have the chance to see it live. And I know there's liquor licenses and all that sort of stuff involved with clubs and stuff, and over 21 and that sort of stuff, but it's a great shame. We've had a couple of them so far, maybe 3 or 4, and it's great because last night there was a couple of young boys in front, and they're singing UFO songs. Singing UFO. In New York, had a couple of kids singing UFO songs. You know? So, I think what I'm trying to say is that it shows the quality of the writing and the material. You know? And talking about commercial, UFO was tremendously commercial. It never lost that edge and it never lost that sound. I think that's such a great testament to any band that you can go right through those eight. How many records with UFO?
The first section was 7, including Strangers in the Night, but then we did another 3. But that was just like, you know, one important element. Actually, the important elements have to be there in order to be in that space, you know. And Paul Raymond and Ron Everson, they were important to get to that level of Lights Out, Obsession, Strangers in the Night. And then we did another one with Ron Everson again.
Yeah.
And with the actually original lineup, which was the Walk on Water, and it was back to basically where we connected. But then we did the others with Mike Barney, different producer, and then it went, you know, the elements. You lose the element. It is not the same, you know. it becomes a little bit different. Some people like it, some people maybe they notice that what's missing.
It's like your food with hot sauce or without.
I'll go with the hot sauce. I don't know about you.
Me too.
Yeah, there, absolutely.
Me too. And lots of it.
Yeah. Well, because of the collaboration with you guys, and you know, like you mentioned, the tour is going great. I've had people on my social media pages asking me, wanting me to ask you, and it's just a natural question. I mean, it begs the question: will you guys collaborate after this tour as far as another studio album? Have you discussed it that far in the future? Will you plan on making
right
music
now
together?
I'm basically doing the best of Michael Schenker. It's about Michael Schenker, Temple of Rock. It's about my past and including an era with Robin, right? Because there's so many songs, you know, we put as many in as we can at this point in time, with this symphony and Save Yourself. And so this is that section right now. That's what I'm doing, to be able to play Love Drive songs, my period with the Scorpions in 79, 80, and then the UFO stuff, the classics, basically all my classics from the past. Well, let's say what I had the other day I was thinking about. It's actually the most, it's not the best of Michael Schenker necessarily, but it's the most known.
Yes.
Of me, you know, and so that's what I feel like is the time to do that. And for me, it's always like it's a universal, you know, scripture. I mean, what do you call it? The universe, the register. You know, I feel like
all the stars are lining up.
well, it's kind of things go in a cycle and stuff like that, you know. And I'm very in tune with all of this, you know. And so I kind of I take hints, you know, and I feel like, you know, like I said before, I had no concept what I'm doing, but I'm not doing it. It just happens by itself. I also had an insight about, you know, Temple of Rock, you know, the roofing. One day I had like, you know, this kind of a vision, like, you know, it started with Zeppelin, Deep Purple. They're building the pillars and the foundation. Then there's the 80s, the bricks and the clay, and wait a minute, this sounds like we're building a temple here, you know, a temple of rock in a handmade rock. And all these different generations now, 50 years, you know, from, I realized, wait a minute, when these guys are dead, you know, this is going to be dying out. Technology is taking over. It's not going to be the same again. It's going to be great in a different way, but it's not going to be handmade rock the way we know it. So it's a temple on its own. It's a real thing where I feel like at this point in time, we are kind of starting to celebrate the roofing of it. My father was an architect. That's why I know about how this works. So, you know, it's like, now we are on top. There is not that much more, but still, there is still a few more years that we can enjoy with all generations, all the people that have that interest and are affected by this era, including the fans, everybody. Everybody is grown to that, you know, and treasure that temple at the end of the day. And it's going to be an era that's going to be in history forever. I mean, it's going to be talked about in the future. It's something like Caesar and you know, Robin Hood and whatever. This is an era that is very, very powerful, was exciting, was a journey, was incredible, you know. And then it will kind of go into the next temple that the next generations to come build, you know.
Well, and of course, your brother Rudolph with the Scorpions is on a farewell tour that is basically lasting 3 years at minimum. And they've come here a couple of years ago, not too long. I think they were here about 3 days after you were here the last time. Have you given any thought as to how much longer you want to carry on musically?
I'll be the king of rock and roll. That's it.
Absolutely.
I live for music. It's my life, you know. There is no, until I drop. That's it.
That's great news for everybody out there, all you Schenker fans from any era. Go pick out Michael's next record, current record, Temple of Rock. And we're going to let them get ready for the show tonight here at Backstage Live. If they're coming to your city, look them up and check them out. Thank you so much, guys. Robin McAuley.
Pleasure. Thank you.
The legendary Michael Schenker. Thank you. An absolute pleasure for Michael and Robin. This is Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner. We'll see you next time.